Yeah, we're all like, it's a mixture of people. It's like people have been in the industry for 30 years.
Yeah.
People like me that have been in the industry for 12 years. People that are just getting in the industry. So yeah, it's a great collage of people.
Yeah,
so
cool.
that excites me a bit, and a bit nervous because then you go, well, we've got these young people around. Are they going to need more from me energy while I'm trying to concentrate on content?
Yeah.
But we've done a lot of prep work, and hopefully it goes off without a hitch. I think it will. Got a plan to win, but also prepare to mitigate problems and problem solve.
Yeah.
So hopefully got all those safeguards in place today. Hopefully.
Oh, good work.
Yeah. But I think we're ready to go. What do you reckon? You reckon
let's
we're
do
ready
it.
to go? Let's jump into this podcast. And welcome to the Pagey Train. Today I have in the studio with me Joanna Beveridge. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me.
Writer, director, the Sydney Sleuthers. What's eating? I was about to say what's eating Gilbert Grape. No, you didn't do that. Melanie Sprottle. That's what I was looking for.
She just claims everything. And when I did Lord of the Rings.
Oh, yeah. It was a weekend shoot.
A casual Friday.
Yeah, 8 hours of editing. It wasn't no biggie. I really enjoyed Melanie Sprottle. Like I was saying to you before, my family are right into horses. My sister has 3 horses out at Cobbity.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous country out there. Riding out there, they have a lot of fun. But I'm just not a horse person.
Yeah.
I'm a surfer. I'm a surfer skater guy.
I cannot surf. I cannot do it. I can wakeboard, but I can't surf.
It's very similar.
I'm sure it is.
It
I've
is.
tried to have that mentality when I try to do it, but it doesn't seem to translate for me.
Yeah, there's more lean forward in surfing than there is lean forward and nose up, obviously. So you got to drop into the wave. Nose down's bad, and it is on wakeboarding.
That's what I've done in both, actually.
It's
and
amazing.
It hurts.
It's amazing. You don't think it hurts the first time. Like when you see people do it, and you go, "Oh, it's only water. How bad can it be?"
It wins you. It's painful.
Yeah. It's like hitting concrete sometimes. Depends how fast you're going. I've got a good wakeboarding story. I was over in Perth. Big shout out to my very good friend Harry. Took me out in his jet boat, and you know how the wakes can sometimes come together as one little wave.
Yeah.
I went over that while I was trying to get from one wake to the other, and there was this little pop wave in the middle, and I just went over that, airborne. Went flying in face first into the water, and a jellyfish hit me in the face. Not a poisonous one, but hit me in the face and then went into my wetsuit, into my jacket. And it was gross. Yeah, I had to pull it all out, and oh man, yeah.
That's the nightmare.
It's a total
hitting
nightmare.
anything in the water.
Yeah,
Oh.
jellyfish, yeah. Poor thing, the poor thing.
Oh, the poor thing as well.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was disintegrated.
Oh,
Yeah, and I was in a bit of a icky mood after that.
when I was 5 and I was learning to water ski, we used to do this thing where you tie the water skis together.
There we go.
There you go.
There we go.
Where we tied the water skis together, and so I was coming out of the water and accidentally let the handle slip. And the handles got caught around the rope, and I got dragged underwater, dragged for. It felt like forever, especially because when a boat slows down, it doesn't stop straight away. It kind of glides through a bit, and no one had really worked out that I was just being slowly sinking underwater, being drowned as a 5-year-old.
Terrifying.
And then my sister's screaming, "Gas out of me!" And I'm screaming out, and I did not want to ski for a long time after that. I was like, "Nah, this is a terrible sport. Don't like it."
Yeah, that's a little bit scary. That's a little bit scary. You sort of graduate from kneeboarding, right? So kneeboarding can be a lot of fun because it's quite easy.
Yeah.
It's easy to get up on a kneeboard, and you can kind of even do turns after a bit of confidence. But wakeboarding, that's a skill level up.
Yeah.
They're interchangeable though. Like snowboarding, wakeboarding, surfing, they are interchangeable.
Because kneeboarding I find hard because my knees sometimes when I kneel like that
Yeah.
slide off themselves. And I have to straighten my leg to pop it back on again.
See, that's that icky thing again of like bones and cartilage going together. I just
It's a
find
walking sports problem.
Oh, there's some sports that I'm just good at and some that I'm not.
Yeah,
They're just
same.
like, baseball, cricket, just naturally go towards that. I'd like to say I'm a good touch footy player, but I think other people would have other opinions. But, basketball is my failure. I just can't do it. I can't. I can shoot hoops a little bit, but...
I just never did it. Did hockey, horse riding, we talked about that.
Yeah.
Athletics, but nothing else.
Yeah, hockey's another fun one. That can be fun. Quite a violent game, the old hockey.
I think that's why I was drawn to it.
Oh, man, speaking of violence, I watched today. Have you seen Trainwreck on Netflix? It's about Woodstock 99. Holy shit. As a promoter and as an event organizer, it's a horror film. Right?
Oh, really?
3 days, yeah. It literally turns into Armageddon. They burn it down. The whole place burns down. There was, there's no deaths, but there was no rubbish collection the whole 3 days. The water had sewage in it, so people had trench mouth. It was horrific. Absolutely, watch it.
What's it on?
Netflix. Trainwreck, it's called.
Trainwreck.
And
I was like, I thought you meant the Amy Schumer movie. I was like, Trainwreck.
No, that's what we were talking about earlier. Like, yeah, not Amy Schumer. No. No, it's a guy who owns the rights to Woodstock. Went to do Woodstock 94, right? You might remember Green Day and seeing them get hit by mud. If you ever seen that footage, that's from Woodstock 94, I think it is. But then they did Woodstock 99, and it was a money-making operation. So they did it at an abandoned airbase, because then they had the walls perimetered around so they can make sure no one went in for free. And they had no rubbish collection. The no one servicing the portaloos. There's 250,000 people there. Shit is the word. Yes. Shit indeed. It was intense, man. Watch it as a promoter. I got to say, as a promoter and as an artist, I'd go, man. I'd love to be like, everyone would love to be the lead singer in Korn, and watching a sea of people mosh as the sound wave travels through the 250,000 people. As an artist, that would be incredible.
Yeah.
As a promoter, it's horrifying. As a festival goer, I think I would have had fun there. That sounds terrible.
It was an experience.
Well, when I was 9, the thing is, they really pointed out the zeitgeist of the time. I was having this discussion today, like in the 90s, man. Like how like decades have sort of they're signatory in some way. Like the 60s, if you say the 60s to somebody, they'll go, "Oh, flowers, peace and love, Woodstock." The moon landing, right? They'll say those things. There's iconic moments, bell bottoms. There's fashion statements and music that comes out of that era. The 70s, disco, leather jackets, muscle cars, the 80s, the fashion out of the 80s, the music out of the 80s. These are all significantly different from each other.
Yeah.
And you get to the 90s, and this is the last decade before the digital era. There was a time where we didn't have phones and we didn't film anything.
Yes.
And it was a wild time. I realised that society compared to now was a lot more violent back then. It really was. And I think people have said that through the eras as well. Like people would say, the 80s was more violent than the 90s, and you go back and there's more violence as you go back. But yeah, I think the 90s was the cap of this century where there was 2 world wars.
Yeah.
The Vietnam War, the Korean War. The move of recorded music and recorded film. Like no time before had there been film or recorded music. External memories, and those external memories were all analog in nature. They were all broadcast as a consumeristic product, records and T-shirts and these ideas of entrepreneurship, right? But that's really changed in the 2000s. Like, what fashion came out of the 2000s?
I could not tell you.
What music?
I was thinking about it the whole time. I was like, what is the noughties?
What is the noughties? What is the iconic thing in the noughties except for the phone?
Yeah.
I think there's something to be said for that. I think we're in this weird adolescence with social media where we don't have an identity. Everything is so fragmented. We don't have an identity for a decade. That's how fragmented it is. And I think, looking at that Woodstock documentary today, I realised, there was a time there where Fight Club was 1999. It was celebrating, the struggles of white men in modern society, but attached to ultra violence, and that's normal.
Yeah,
that's acceptable. American Pie.
Oh my God.
Highly sexualized film. There's this highly sexualized comedy. You couldn't make that movie now. So things have changed in a dramatic way. Like, I think people have said, because I dress like I'm in the 90s still, right? And so there's been moments through, the 2000s that people have said, you look, man, you're really with the times of what you're wearing. Like, I've had these jeans for 14 years. And then there's times where you go, man, you got to change those clothes, man. You're not with the times. And then they'll catch up again. Oh, you look, you seem to be with the times. I'm like, it's always been the same for me. So things come in and out of fashion. I've been stuck in the 90s forever. Yeah. But it was really reflective of me today to look at that documentary and go, yeah, this is, where we came from. Like, personally, I ended up in a heavy metal band after that. Yeah. After that time, and have done so for 20 years. Yeah. Being a heavy metal singer, joined the military, got into a job of violence, and now that I've transitioned into, shooting a camera to create things and making art, I can be reflective of that. And I don't know what's in that. I think I'm onto something with myself about that. Yeah. What do you think of that? Are you a 90s fan?
I do just love how iconic that they all are compared to now. You can point at something and go, that feels 80s, that feels 90s, but you can't for the late, because I grew up in the 90s, but I mean, like, I was born in 88, so when I say I grew up in the 90s, like, I can kind of remember
the bicentennial.
Yeah, exactly. People made a big deal of that. But I have more memories from the 2000s and whatnot.
Yeah. Well, that's what's interesting to ask you. Yeah, because what's for you, like, because you were a teenager in the noughties, right? Mm-hmm. What was the thing that was iconic other than the phone for you? Do you know?
Well, everyone was talking about how they used to be on MSN and have a MySpace, but I never did that.
Yeah, I had an MSN and MySpace, yeah.
I didn't. And so I don't know why. We'll talk, because, now we've all got Facebook and blah, 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 blah. And
literally blah, 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 blah. It just goes
and
on
then
and
it changes.
on.
I'm like, wait, what is it now? TikTok, okay, right? Oh, no, that's already moved on. Okay, move on to the Metaverse. All right, cool. But I have to create like a full, I don't know.
I'm going to put this podcast on Spotify. By the way, it's Vision on Spotify. Don't forget to follow.
But I don't know. I can't go like, oh, I had a perm and stuff like that with my hair. Like, I was just, I don't know. I was getting a phone towards 2004, I think it was when I got a phone, and it was, a flip phone, so that was very satisfying. You'd play Snake.
Yeah, I remember Snake on a Nokia. Snake? I was a pretty good Snake player, actually.
I didn't get into social media until I got into Facebook. And even then, it was because everyone made me do it, and I was like, all right.
Yeah, I got forced into it. Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that, because I don't feel like I abuse social media or anything like that. But
unlike some people out there in the world,
gosh.
It's an interesting window.
It is an interesting window. Oh my goodness! Because I love it now. Like, I'm on Twitter, and it's just fun. You just be a little feral.
Yeah, Misty's a Twitter fan. I'm not a Twitter fan. I don't know. I haven't really got into it though. Yeah.
I've only got into it because of fangirling. Like, you watch a TV show and you live watch it with a whole bunch of other people.
Oh, wow. Yeah, the conversation. See, that's interesting. That's interesting. So that's the thing that I sort of noticed as well in this, thinking about this thought. Can I think about a thought?
You can think about a thought.
I can think about a thought. Is the phone itself, like, with someone, how do I put this? Like, I quoted a movie to a young person, and then they quoted me back the meme they saw it on. And I said, do you know where the meme's from? They're like, no idea. I'm like, it's Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, man. I'm like, this is like,
I love that so much.
Like, you haven't seen Willy Wonka, and they're like the Johnny Depp one. I'm like, no. The original. Like, this is iconic stuff, man. This is Bedknobs and Broomsticks stuff, man. How do you not know that? And then I started thinking, like, well, the noughties in the 2000s, all of the 2000s are pop cultural references. We reference all the pop culture of the past. Like, and another thing that's put me onto that is Stranger Things, right? We get into the Stranger Things because it's a window into the 80s. Yeah. And where's the window? And my question is, where's the window to now? What is now?
Well, it's all digital stuff now, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. But what does that mean? What do we get out of the digital stuff?
I don't know. Connection with people who we don't know. I swear half the people I interact with online are just total strangers. I don't know any of them.
Oh, that terrifies me.
I did a podcast.
I feel like I'll get groomed or something.
I literally ended up doing a podcast with a bunch of women from America. I got up at 6 a.m. because we were all talking about Korean dramas, and because we'd all fangirled together so much. they just invited me along. I was like, yes, that sounds amazing. Fangirling with complete strangers, please.
Wow. Yeah, I can see. I can relate to the fangirling, fanboying ideas, right? Because there's things out there that I love, absolutely love. Like, and that taste has changed as I've gotten older. Like, there's a time where I could talk with my friends about The Simpsons. We could have like a conversation in a pub purely based on Simpsons references, which are references to pop culture. Because like The Simpsons itself is a meme as a series. As a series, it's a meme of the world. And we could talk in a pub. No one knows what we're talking about, because we can anticipate what the next person's going to say. So, like for instance, one saying in The Simpsons is Leonard Nimoy goes, "Solar eclipse, the cosmic ballet goes on," right? And it's on the monorail, and there's a guy that sits next to him and goes, "Does anyone want to switch seats?" Right? So when you're in a pub and there's a weirdo that sits next to you, and I'd go to your mate, the solar eclipse, cosmic ballet goes on, and he knows what the next line is. So we'd use pop culture references in the noughties to reference the past, to talk about the now, which I find interesting. And that's where that fandom and fangirling stuff gets into it, like the alternate endings to movies. The alternate in your mind to movies. Like, I'm a big fan of looking at... That's why I like the DVD, right? Because the DVD will give you the alternate endings to a movie.
Yeah.
Or the director's cut, which I think's weird. Director's cuts are weird. Like, why wouldn't you just do the cut to begin with?
They're just longer. They're usually just longer. It's like the babies they didn't want to kill.
Yeah, precious.
Or darlings they didn't want to kill.
I don't know. I watched the director's cut of Aliens, man, and it's way better than Aliens.
Ah.
It's way better. Like, all the extra stuff in there is way better. They should have left it in there. It was recognised as too geeky. I'm like, but look at your audience.
Yeah.
Super geeky.
Give them what they want.
Like, the artistry of all of that series, man, is very deep.
Yeah.
And it's about, the humans within us are, potentially monsters, right? That's the subtext to all of it.
Yeah.
Some want to be the monster. Some don't want to be the monster. Some would want to kill the monster.
Yeah.
There's all of these tropes that, we can look at through that. There's a lot of that going on this podcast. Can I think a thought? I just think it's interesting in this day and age, like the phone. We predicted the phone in sci-fi.
Yeah.
We predicted video calling in sci-fi. Right, but we didn't predict the social media aspect of it and how that has fragmented absolutely everything.
Yeah,
there's some great movements. Like, I think an iconic movement is the Metoo Movement. That is something that you go, man, if the phone wasn't about, that shit wouldn't be going down, and those arseholes wouldn't have been exposed. Right?
Yeah.
The revolution in Egypt where they tried to shut down the internet. Those people were saved because of the cameras in their phone. It's powerful.
Yeah,
it's a powerful thing. People that misuse the phone, like Cambridge Analytica, that are influencing content that people see, are influencing how they vote. So it's a significant thing, this Black Mirror that we carry around. It really is.
Black Mirror was too scary for me to watch, by the way. And I don't mean visually scary. I just mean like that's too real. What has happened? Because I watched the first episode, which was with the president and the pig, and I'm just like...
Yeah, that's the most benign one. That really is. Some of the concepts in Black Mirror are like frightening.
Yeah.
Because it's near future sci-fi. That's the other thing. It's within reach.
Yeah.
It's plausible.
Yeah.
No, the one I really enjoyed from them, did you do Bandersnatch? You know what Bandersnatch is?
That's the one with the...
Choose Your Own Adventure.
Choose Your Adventure, yeah.
Yeah, we played that for hours. That was amazing.
That was a very cool little experiment.
It was a great experiment, a very expensive experiment, but a great I don't think they got their money back on it.
Yeah.
But it will sit there for the ages and be studied for the future, for especially like Metaverse and stuff like this, where you have choices in narrative.
Metaverse.
Yeah, the
I'm
Metaverse.
so curious.
I don't even know. What is the fucking Metaverse anyway? What is it?
I don't know, but I'm curious.
What do you know about the Metaverse? Let's look it up. I'm going to look it up.
Yeah.
What is the fucking Metaverse, man? I've had enough. Enough's enough.
I just feel like, especially when we're trying to find new ways to launch stuff, I'm fascinated to think about launching shows or something in the metaverse. Like, not going to a cinema. It's like, you've got a little film and you launch it there and a whole bunch of people are watching. I don't know. It's fascinating to me.
Yeah, okay.
I just haven't had the time to sit down and go, right, thank you for Googling this. What is the metaverse?
I can't even see what I'm typing, and I can't see
we
the
just
keyboard.
Ask Siri?
What is the Metalverse?
Oh, come on.
This computer knows me. This computer knows me too much. Oh, no. What have you done? Oh, was it just the coaster that stuck?
Yes.
Yeah, they're not. They look good, but they're useless.
Move that one back there we go.
That's why I got spares.
Hey.
It's not my first rodeo.
I thought it was ice. I was like, how did I tip this glass so well?
Yeah. Well, we've got the rug. The rug's there for that. It's not the first time that would happen. Okay. Clearly, I can't spell.
What is the metaverse exactly? Broadly speaking.
Broadly speaking, what is the metaverse exactly? My internet is not playing the game at the moment. Let's see if we can get something out of it. It's nearly... Oh, no, don't give me the history. What is it?
Seriously, what does metaverse mean?
Seriously, what is it? I'm not going to the magazine, man. Just give me the definition. What is the metaverse? It's an integrated network of 3D virtual worlds. Well, that's kind of self-explanatory.
Isn't it just you being able to have an avatar in a space, but they haven't quite worked out how to... You know how Google lets us go and get into anything that we want? They haven't worked out how to make the metaverse into that yet?
Yeah, I don't know. I think perhaps it's more to do with... what's that? Remember Second Life? Oh, yeah, Second Life, where you could be online and you can have your own avatar, and it's got to live by these rules in society.
I missed all of that. If that was the thing, I missed it definitely.
Yeah,
when was that?
2008, 2009.
No.
So there was, and World of Warcraft. That's another sort of avatar space where look. There's funny stories in those spaces, right? The funniest story I heard in that space was, I think they were elves, right? So they've got all these different factions or clans, right? So they had these demon dragon dudes and these elves, and someone had died from DVT. From being in
the game.
Yeah, because they were at the computer.
Oh, you mean in real life?
In real life,
that's horrifying.
They died playing the computer game.
That's devastating.
And then they had a funeral online for this lady, and all of these elves showed up inside the game for this funeral, and then all of these other faction go, these guys are meeting there, and we can go and slaughter them. So they showed up and slaughtered everyone.
This was almost the sweetest story. And I was about to say how wonderful it is to watch the internet bring people together.
Yeah.
And then you just...
These dragon slayers come through, man.
So bad.
And then kill all the elves. And then the elves complain because then Avatar's worth money, right? Because they accumulate wealth in the game.
Yeah.
And they complained to World of Warcraft, and they said, we were having a visual, and they come and killed us. They go, it's a game. It's a game. What did you expect? That's the rules of the game.
That's how immersed people come in these things, which is really interesting, because it's like, okay, so we're saying, what does digital mean for people? I think it is you find a community when you can't find one at home.
That's a
lot
really
of people,
true.
And I feel like a lot of people, both in a good and a bad way, but a lot of people can be their authentic selves sometimes when they're online. Again, in a good or a bad way.
Yeah, the keyboard warriors that are out there.
Keyboard warriors.
Yeah, those hefty, horrible emailers and shit posting people.
Yeah, they're a hoot.
Yeah, I must confess, I do read a lot of shit posting. I don't participate in it.
You watch it.
I watch it go down, yeah.
Like you're the meme that's like you sit down and you have the popcorn.
Yeah. I've been roped into one before, but they came onto my private page though. And I'm like, you're arguing with me on a meme that I posted on my personal page. I'm not on a forum or anything. I'm not in someone else's site. I'm not on their page, like talking in an open space. I'm in my space.
Yeah.
And you're arguing with me on my space. I just, fuck you, block you. Get out of my fucking life.
Yeah. How we're taught to engage in very different ways. Like most people say ignore it and let the people in the comments section sort it out.
Oh man, it's that Cambridge Analytica stuff, man. It was during an election, and I figured out they were getting scrolls, and I did a political post, which I didn't care. Like, I don't care politics left and right. I just don't care. Like, I will vote for who is the most, the least bad at the time. And that could be Labor or Liberal or Greens. It doesn't matter, right? That's your vote, right? But what I realised is I'm pretty sure that these guys that were further towards the right wing were getting content that was enraging them, and then they were getting content that was triggering them to attack people like me that are in the middle.
So they were bots.
No, they weren't bots.
Cleverly designed bots.
They were human bots. Yeah, brainwashed human bots is my theory. Because why would you attack your friend? It's weird. It's weird in their own space. But I think that's an insight to the digital space and what it means is the digital space itself. And I suppose now I think about it, gaming. There's iconic things in gaming that is from those decades. Halo. What's another one? I don't play a lot of games.
I mean, I played Spyro. Does that count? I was really good at collecting gems.
I just realised my switcher wasn't working. Damn it. Gems on Spyro, yeah, and I like those games. I like pinball. I like those analog games. I like bowling, pool.
Yes.
I love that stuff. I don't mind that in a digital space either. But
Okay, literally a month ago, I found myself playing Tetris again.
love Tetris.
Why?
Love Tetris.
Deeply satisfying and relaxing. I was like,
It's
yes.
meditative, man.
Put those blocks in the right spot. Oh no, there's a gap.
Yeah, but when it's going well, when you're in the
Such high stakes.
when you're in the zone
Yeah.
though, it's great because
You get a rhythm and you hit that space bar. You're like, yes,
you're a
this is
machine.
great.
You're just a machine.
I'm so good at this.
And yeah, I really. I'm not sure I'll check that since everything's going wrong right now. Yes, it is recording. Yeah, I think that's a great answer to that. So this digital space is the answer to these icons. Like the skins that people wear in games are the fashion. It's interesting, you know.
I am a level 55 dark elf.
Yeah, that's right. And maybe that's what it is in the metaverse, man. It might be that in the metaverse. You have status in that space,
Yeah.
but are you yourself in that space and that avatar is you?
Is it trying to be Ready Player One? Is that what we're moving into?
Yeah, I think that's what they're aiming for, yeah. That's what they want.
Because I always liked the little, I don't know what you call them, but the things that they like are running on
Like
a treadmill, but
travelator.
not really.
It's like a little disc travelator, yeah. I think that's already here. That stuff's already here.
Yeah.
I just think it's more bulky at the moment. Augmented reality is coming.
Yeah.
Like, it's already here. Like, we even did one for Made in the West, man. We did an augmented magazine.
Yeah.
So you can open up the magazine, hover your phone over it, and it comes to life. You know?
It's fun stuff.
Yeah, well, we did that as I don't know, we wanted memorabilia.
Yeah.
And we thought, well, we're doing this digital thing. How can we have memorabilia in a digital thing?
Yeah.
So we thought we'd pay homage to the magazine, because then we can put our history in the magazine. We thought, well, what else can we do with the magazine? What's a cool thing we can do to make it in this digital space?
Yeah.
And that was to augment it. So it's a digital
cool.
magazine that's a
Yeah.
physical magazine.
Yeah.
So it's, a little QR code.
Yep.
Buzz that, and it's now a magazine that plays clips as you hover your phone over it, right? Yeah, that's the answer.
Yeah.
It is this digital augmentation that we're going towards. The idea of contact lenses that we put in that, are our
Still waiting for that.
on display to screen. Yeah, I think we're going to get that before the hoverboard.
Well, me and my sister were talking about the Google glasses and how we wish they'd taken off a bit more because they were trying to do the whole,
Yes, yeah, streamline it.
I don't know what to call it, but it never really went anywhere. So.
They've tried several times. It's kind of like the Power Glove from Nintendo, right? Didn't really take off, but it looked cool.
Cool. Oh, God.
Everyone just turned it around and actually just used it as a controller.
Yeah.
But not that I was rich enough to have one of those. But
No, I never had one of those.
I had friends.
I had a controller. I remember I had a Nintendo gun though. It was like this bright orange thing.
Yeah, for duck hunt.
duck shooting.
Duck hunt, yeah, duck shoot was it? Yeah. I love that game. Yeah, I even got that on the Wii as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I even got the the Steyr version gun, where you can shoot the screen, man. It was a lot of fun, and we got the zombie games and all that sort of stuff. We used to play it on the big screen on the projector.
Fun.
So you can have a weekend over and have people over, have them in here in my work party space.
Yeah.
And that's how we used to spend our time, is playing games. But I got out of playing games though because they took up all my time.
Yeah, same. I had to stop.
Yeah.
It was in the HSC.
Yeah. Oh.
That's when I stopped, literally.
Yeah, I stopped at the end of school. Then I joined the military. I'm like, we still did Doom. We did null modem on Doom, so like PC hookup in our barracks.
Yeah.
And since I was such a nerd, I was easy to, I could hook that shit up, right?
Oh, that's cool.
So we were all playing Doom in the military while we were bored.
Yeah.
But after that, I realised, man, there's cafes out there.
Yeah.
There's a beach out there.
Yeah.
There's an island, a 16-minute boat ride away. Get on the boat, go on the island, walk around that. Go and see nature. Go and hang out with your friends. Go and drink on a deserted beach and have fun.
I mean, thankfully, Spyro never pulled me out enough to make not go to the beach. When I say I did gaming, I'm not saying I did gaming. Like I observed other people doing it, and then I played Spyro.
Yeah.
Or like
Spyro.
Mario.
Spyro only, and Snake on the Nokia.
Yes, literally. To say I have some kind of gaming pedigree would be a lie. I watched my friends play their Sega.
Oh yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah, no, I was more watching people play games, a voyeur, if you will.
Yeah,
A game
same.
voyeur.
Why did I enjoy that? I don't know.
I don't know, watching people succeed and, you share in their...
I played Tomb Raider, actually.
Yeah, Tomb Raider was
What
alright.
about that?
On the
Jeez.
Sony? That's on the
I think I
Sony.
played on the computer.
Oh, wow, you're a computer player as well. I'm one of those.
Yeah.
I used to play interactive movies when I was a teenager. Yeah, in the 90s. Games like Under a Killing Moon.
Yeah.
You used to have a clip that would play and you have items and you'd have to select things to give to the lady running away from the ghost.
Oh, I've never seen that.
Yeah, there was banned ones called one was called Phantasmagoria. It was banned in Australia, and I went and downloaded it off the pre-internet, which is called a bulletin board. So I downloaded it off, which was on a university computer. I got that game from. I won't say what university, but I downloaded it from a university server. This illegal game, and then it came on 16 floppy disks.
Floppy disks.
Yeah, when I distributed it to my friends and had to share it,
Yeah.
I had to give them 16 floppy disks to load in one at a time.
Do you mean the smaller ones, or you mean the big ones?
Well, I had both of those.
Yeah.
So
I'm trying to work out what generation we're talking.
oh
here.
man, I had an Apple IIgs. That was my first computer. No, that was my second computer actually, but my first computer that I really got into. So that was 2 disk drives that were 5.25 quarter, 5.25 inch floppy disk.
Yeah.
Which I think had 13 megabytes. Sorry, kilobytes. I think it was in the kilobytes. Yeah.
Into the kilobytes.
Yeah, and that was huge. Man. We had that, and then I ended up with a PC 286, and then I got a 386, then 486, then I ended up with a Pentium, and then I went back to Mac.
I can't remember the computers I've had.
I'm a nerd, man.
It took probably till like high school to ever get near one. So
Yeah, no, I was raised on them. My mother insisted on it, really.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, she said this is like the future of shit, and you got to learn it. And she got me right into it.
Oh, I like that. That's great.
Yeah, man. She was a crazy lady, but a smart one in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
She saw the future. Well, she ended up doing computing at university.
Yeah.
She didn't finish her course, I don't think, in that. She was doing nursing, but one of her electives was computing.
Yeah.
And I used to go and sneak into lectures and shit like that all the time. Used to wag school to go to uni. What a nerd.
That's awesome, though. I love it.
I used to get in trouble, though. I used to get in trouble for doing it. I'd do it all the time.
I think the one time I wagged, the one time, I was terrified when I was doing it the whole time.
I'm gonna get caught.
When I was
Gonna get caught.
Oh my god! But it was when I was at I was at a new school, and I just joined the musical at that school, and then we'd all stayed back. I don't know, I think it was during history, and I decided to stay back with the drama nerds in this building. And I felt like such a rebel. And then I told them who I had, and I was like, "Oh, I've got Mrs. Brady." And they all looked at me and went, "Why are you here? Go!" I was like, "What? What do you mean?" I was so scared.
Wow.
I walked in, and I was like, "Oh, I was just doing practice for the musical." And she's like, "That's okay." I was like, "How it pays to be a goody kid." Like, goody two-shoes, rocking up late. I knew what I was doing.
Oh man, I was terrible.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Brady.
In my, I remember in my spare periods at school, I would go to art class, and it took 6 months for that teacher to figure out that I wasn't actually in that class. And I'd be like, I'd do the exams and everything, man. Like,
what?
Yeah, because he must have thought I was off his roll, and he's put me on his roll, and he's realised, because it was all handwritten back then, right?
Yeah.
And he's put me on the roll, and then he's gotten they obviously do a consolidation at some point, and they have to do their grades versus the paperwork they get from their head teacher in their office.
Yeah.
And realised I wasn't on that list. He goes, "You're not in this class." I'm like, "You've been coming here for 6 months." I'm like,
"But I want those credits." So.
Yeah, I know. But he goes, because we all learned about Picasso and Cubism and all these sort of things.
Yeah.
I'm always putting my hand up in the class, participating.
What were you not going to?
Oh no, it was a free period.
Oh my gosh!
I know, it's even worse. I know,
I feel
I'm
like
terrible.
my nerd status needs to be significantly downgraded.
Well, I think I'm a geek and a nerd.
Yeah,
I'm a geek and a nerd, but I'm more of a geek than a nerd.
Yeah.
And I've changed more into a geek as I've gotten older.
Yeah.
Geek is easier than nerd. Nerd's more work. More reading in nerd. So that's not true. I've got to read manuals and shit to figure out computers and fucking all kinds of weird problems.
Yeah.
That make you pull your hair out. But at the end of it, you feel triumphant, like, I'm so smart. But really, you just fixed an audio problem. Get over yourself.
Yeah, come on. That is so satisfying.
It is really satisfying. It's so satisfying to
I
to
beat
work
the
out everything.
machine.
Yeah, well, actually, speaking of the machine, man, I'm thinking about doing another series for the Pagey train. I'm going to call it Page Against the Machine.
Ooh.
Yeah, and talk about tech shit. Yeah, and things that I've done.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, because I'm really into it. I was like, I can do an episode once a month to talk about geeky shit that I do, because I do heaps of geeky shit.
Yeah.
Like we were talking before, because you're wearing the NASA shirt, man.
Yeah.
Check out this NASA shirt.
Constantly trying to think of some kind of space story that I can
Constellationally
feasibly...
thinking.
Constellationally thinking. I'm thinking about thinking of.
Thinking of thinking.
I don't know. It feels like something... I remember I went to this talk with Neil deGrasse Tyson. He was saying, it feels like we haven't gotten to space again. Like, the reason we got to space in the first point was because of wars and whatnot. And it's like the fight for the sky.
Yeah, superiority.
Lost that motivation unless you're like a massively rich old man in America.
Yeah, or a massively rich middle-aged man.
Yeah.
Who wants to, make us a space-faring civilization.
Yeah.
I find that fascinating.
Same.
Oh, dude, I'm a Mars fan. In fact, on my shelf on my movies there's a Mars section, just for, from everything from Total Recall to The Martian. Yeah, there it is. You can see it from there. John Carter, The Martian, top left there. There you go.
John Carter.
Yeah.
I actually enjoyed that movie.
So did I. Got a bad review, though.
Why did I get it bad? Oh.
I think it was a really good idea because it's lower gravity, so he's stronger.
Yeah.
It makes sense, except for the teleportation part. But you got to let that go.
In most sci-fi, you've got to let everything go, okay?
Totally. I don't know why I got a bad review. I thought it was really, really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I love Mars and Martian movies, and I love geology and reading up about geology on Mars. Well, not reading up, watching documentaries about Mars. Let's be clear.
Yeah.
Occasionally I do read the one article here and there, but mainly watching shit.
Yeah.
On my phone, my Black Mirror. Trying not to watch doom scrolls and trying to do documentaries. But yeah, no, I just bought a telescope. And it's just finally arrived. I had it built in America. It took them 18 months to build this fucking thing. Yeah, it's 2 meters tall, 16-inch aperture. Like they call it the light bin because it just catches so much light. Yeah, it rocked up in like several boxes.
Oh, gosh.
And I looked at it and I'm like, what have I fucking done? This is beyond me. I've overreached. I can't eat this apple, but I'm going to give it a good red hot shot. But I can't get around to unpacking it because I've got too much work on at the moment.
Yeah.
So my reward is to put that thing together and look at the stars. But watching, showing kids the stars is what I've realised in my older age. Is what I really like doing is lighting up young minds about science. Because you point to Jupiter and they can see it as a dot, and you look through the telescope and you can see that there's 5 dots there. There's a big dot and 4 little dots, and you go, they're moons travelling around this big planet. How many Earths do you think fit in Jupiter? And they go, how many? 1,000. And it lights up their brain.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
Yeah, well, I do the ratios.
Teach me more.
All the ratios. I'll give you the ratios on it.
Yes.
So 1,000 Earths will fit into Jupiter, and 1,000 Jupiters will fit into the Sun.
Oh.
Yeah. The one I've done this recently. Okay, so see the shine on these orbs, like they're like these spiders here.
Yeah.
Maybe they got these spiders. Hold on, it should flick me over. Here we go. Got these spiders, right? See that shine on there. The surface area of that would have more variation than between the Marianas Trench and the top of Mount Everest. So that ratio is smaller than that.
Oh,
so
okay.
the deepest trench on that to the highest peak is a longer distance as a ratio than the Earth. The Earth is smoother than that, scientifically speaking, right? If you look, so we live on that shine.
Yep.
Right? We live on the surface of this shiny thing, right? And the surface. When I mean the surface of the Earth, I mean the crust. The crust is the shine. So it's this fireball.
Yep.
We literally live on a fireball traveling at 100,000 kilometers through space, right? That's another conversation. Get into that. But the ratio, right, is you take a tennis ball and you take this the Earth and the tennis ball.
Yeah.
Right. The sun and the tennis ball. So the sun is the tennis ball.
Yeah.
And the Earth is the tip of a pin. Yeah.
Yep.
If you look out at the stars, you'll see Sirius, which is on the frying pan. You know, the 3 Orion belt stars. Out the side, you'll see a really bright star, and that star's called Sirius. The Sirius is the tennis ball, and the sun is the pinprick.
Yep.
So the Earth doesn't even fit into that ratio.
Nah.
It doesn't fit. You look at Betelgeuse. Betelgeuse is the tennis ball, which is the orange star in Orion's belt. It's the tennis ball, and Sirius is the pinprick. So when you think about small, we are fucking tiny. So tiny. And but precious though. That's the thing we forget to remember, right? Yeah. We've treated the Earth pretty badly.
Yeah.
And haven't been precious with it. We haven't had a farmer mentality with it. We've had a capitalist mentality with it.
Yeah.
And that's starting to shift. They'll shift in maybe not in our time, but it will shift.
I mean, we'll ruin it before it shifts, but...
Yeah, I think we've already ruined it. And
we'll ruin it more.
It's kind of like it's kind of like Woodstock 99. Yeah. The PR is really good, but they burnt that fucker down.
Oh, shit.
There was a few ruffians. This is what they said in their PR release, man. There's a few ruffians, 50 people or so, that caused a bit of trouble. No, look at the footage, man. It was a fucking riot. 20,000 plus.
Oh, my God.
Naked people everywhere. There was, it was just naked people in bonfires, man. It was... It was a pagan ritual.
Yeah.
Not Woodstock, you know. That's what we're doing. We're party animals.
Yeah.
But it's not again though, that 90s was, I think, the real end of that analog violent era. Like, there's violence that still happens, but we've got these mechanisms to report it. You know, someone starts attacking you in the street, just pull out your phone, go live. You know, and we've seen all the Doom Karen, you know, footage out there, and that's why that happens.
Yeah.
And eventually, it's going to pull things into check. Eventually, hopefully,
maybe.
Well, environmental causes.
We say semi-confidently.
Yeah. Well, I think it will. Like, I have hopes. Like, I think that things start out of art first, and then they're weaponized. The phone was an idea of connecting people, and then the government weaponized it. If you look at the plane, I don't think Orville Wright was like, I'm going to bomb a village with this bad boy, you know. I just don't think that's what they thought when they flew for the first time. They wanted to fly. They had dreams. Even von Braun, the guy that did the V2 rockets that bombed London, and he ended up working for NASA in the space program to get to the moon. I don't think he wanted to build the V2 rocket to hurt people. No. That's what Hitler wanted. He wanted to build rockets to go to space. Yeah. And that's what he wanted. So I think the desire is the stars. The desire is the desire with the stars within us, the universe that's within us, the inner space and the outer space. That's what we really are going for. And there's just people that turn that into a profit machine or a war machine in order to make more profit for their profit machine. And that's the people we go, ugh. I think Stranger Things put it really well. Being normal is a raging psychopath. That's what normal is. Because people always go, my whole life I've said I'm not normal. I'm not with the normal mainstream. And now I figured out why. Because it is a raging psychopath. And it's normal to rob people of their pension. Banks robbing people is normal. Insurance companies denying people that have had heart attacks on farms, telling them that they didn't have a heart attack. That's normal. Going to war and bombing people, that's normal. You know, burning down a festival, that's normal.
Oh, it all comes back to Trainwreck.
Yeah, it does. It's affected me today, clearly. Maybe we should do a fan fiction of Trainwreck and do the story of the citizen journalist who's gone to report for blogs, and people don't even know what blogs are in 1999. When did the blog get invented? That's an interesting question. I'm really fascinated by this notion at the moment of what is the digital era in comparison to the decades that were previous. And I think that's really raised a lot of things for me in my mind about what it means, where we were. It's the Emmett Brown thing. This is where we are, this is where we're going, this is where we were. Yeah. You know, and I'm thinking looking where we were to look where we are to figure out perhaps where we're going. And because there's some dark paths out there for us.
I feel like there's so much dark stuff with for kids growing up, what I mean, with the digital age in terms of when I think about my nieces and what they're exposed to when they eventually will be allowed on social media.
Yeah.
I can't remember the guy's name, but there was a comedian talking about how he doesn't let his son onto social media and he won't give him a phone. This is probably 5 years ago now.
Yeah.
And he was saying because when that kid bullies someone, when his son bullies someone, he wants them to see the pain that he causes, and you don't get that when you do it online.
No.
You just send your words out and it's totally douchey and you never see the impact it has.
Yeah, when I got bullied in the old-fashioned way. I got bullied at school.
Yeah, to the face.
And, to
Or
the
behind
face.
your back.
Or behind your back. Within earshot.
The grapevine came and then you're like, oh, that person said that great.
Oh, and they did it for this reason because this person likes this person. They thought I like this person, but I don't really care.
Yes.
Oh, I got it. Yeah, it was all for nothing. Great.
Awesome.
Yeah. It was all for pecking order. Yeah, you got old-fashioned bullying, schoolyard bullying. The way we used to do it back in the day.
Oh my God. Oh no. When I was a
Analog
youngster.
bullying.
Analog bullying.
Yeah, I miss the analog bullies. They were fiercer.
But they always say that. They say
But
that
you got the clock off though.
Well, but yeah, that's what I was about to say. In the digital age, it follows you home. It's not just at school now. It's 24 bloody 7.
And it's evident forever.
And it's sneaky sometimes. And yes.
It's there forever. Anything on the internet is there forever. It's memory. I wonder what they're going to... That's why I wonder about the metaverse, right? Because, if you think about it, all the content that we make, right?
Yeah.
There's the social media posts. There's the content that is of an artistic nature that we're trying to build.
Yeah.
There's the work that we've done for clients and workplaces that are out there in the world. And then one day in the future, people are going to be able to put all of this data together in an algorithm and create a digital version of you.
Yeah.
So you can answer questions.
Yeah.
Like me, because I've done 500 hours of podcasting.
Yeah.
It's easy to get my voice and everything I've ever said in my opinions.
Yeah.
You can take that into an emulator and make me.
Deep faking is incredible.
Yeah, we're on the verge of just being able to tell that it's fake. That's really freaky. That freaks me out.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, there's funny things that I've seen. Barack Obama, saying ludicrous things. But that's just the beginning, right?
There's way scarier stuff than that, yeah.
Yeah, well, eyewitness testimony isn't, the best. So we go to video testimony, and now that is potentially compromised because of software. You can, show a senator doing illegal things with illegal women to go, I've got this footage of you, but it's not real. I don't care. Give me $50,000. Yeah. That could happen.
Yeah.
And it probably will. There's extortion.
Oh, it definitely is.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, yeah. I wonder what goes through your head to make money like that, though. It must be weird. It's that sociopathic thing again. That's normal. It's normal to do a deep fake and bribe someone. Or, no, extort someone.
Oh, no, that's an interesting question, though, because it goes into villain territory.
Yeah.
And I don't know, because you always like to think that maybe it's like a bit of desperation in there or something, but are they just being genuinely evil? I don't know.
I don't know. Are they compensating for something? I don't know. I don't know. I'm a big villain fan, though. I love villains.
I like a good villain.
I like a good villain. Alan Rickman, good villain.
Oh. Always.
Love Alan Rickman as a good villain. Who's another good villain? What's his name? I've forgotten his name. He's in Batman. Everyone's in Batman.
Yes, that's not helping me narrow it down at all.
Plays Dracula. What's his name? I was going to say Sam Rockwell, but that's not him either.
Plays Dracula.
Who's Dracula? I'm going to find out. This is going to kill me.
Same.
Who's another good villain? Christopher Walken is a good villain.
Yeah.
He's a great villain. Have you ever seen True Romance?
No.
Oh, man, he's good. He's only in it for like 5 minutes, but it's awesome. Like, he murders someone, right?
Yeah.
And as he's murdering him, because he's a mob boss, and he's shooting him with this little handgun. And as he's shooting him, he's giving a monologue. Right?
Of course.
And he's like, I haven't killed anyone. Bang, bang. Since 1980. Bang, 4. You're like, wow. And that was Hopkins, I think. Not Hopkins. I always get them guys mixed up. I can't tell. Anyway, I've lost my train of thought with it. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But my point is, I look at True Romance and I think of fandoms. Like,
Yeah.
I think of how else it could be different and how I would write it and how I would do it. And that's kind of what you're up to at the moment, but a little bit different, right?
Fan fiction's the best.
Fan fiction. Because you are a fan of fan fiction.
Yeah.
There it is again. Can I be a fan of fan fiction? Of course I can.
Of course you can.
But you're doing at the moment Shippers.
Yeah.
Which is good crowdfunding as well, by the way, guys. Where can we get your crowdfunding for Shippers before we go into this?
On Possible.
Yeah, on Possible.
Possible. With a Z. P-O-Z-I-B.
With a Z.
L-E.
With a Z.
Yeah.
Possible.
I don't know if I meant to pronounce it that like literal, but I do it all the time. Like Possible.
Shippers on Possible. Go check it out. But what is, because you've derived this word shippers as a title, what is shipping or shippers? Is it shipping or shippers?
It's both.
It's both?
So, I mean, it comes from the word relationship. So that's very much to do with romance.
Finally, the penny has dropped through my thick skull. Okay.
Relationship. And, everything's got to get shortened into a something. And I don't know. I feel like people say that the original shippers started with X-Files, Mulder and Scully. Like everyone wanted that to happen.
I had a bit of a crush on her.
Yeah, who wouldn't?
I had a fanboy crush on her.
And she was also responsible, apparently, for 63% of women saying that that's what got them into doing science as well.
Wow.
Which is why representation is so freaking important.
See, art, right? The power of art, man, and invoking change. That's what I'm talking. I think that comes first.
Yeah.
But there's people that get onto that and go, there's a market there. We can sell that into this space here.
Well, that's why I enjoyed Sterling Story so much. Because it is a way to kind of be like, well, what if?
Yeah.
What if?
Yeah, but relationships though. So you've got the relationship between obviously Mulder and Scully. So they have a relationship rather, because that's the tension in the show.
Yeah.
So
will they, won't they?
Yeah, and the same thing with, like, you ever watch Frasier?
No.
All right, so Frasier got a character, Daphne, and you got Niles, and they never get together.
Yeah.
They never hook up. And that's that tension that keeps the show going. Seinfeld's another good example.
Yeah.
They never
haven't watched it yet.
Watch Seinfeld. You should totally look.
It's not that I meant to miss it. It's just that I didn't watch a lot for the first 14 years of my life. So I feel like I missed a lot.
It's a 90s thing. Frasier, it's a 90s thing.
And I got into watching TV probably from about 2001.
Okay.
Realistically. Like I watched Lord of the Rings.
You are quintessential country.
So I was. Like I was not doing anything film related, and now I'm like playing catch up and all these iconic things. There's a lot to watch.
It's interesting that you get to watch it that way, because I watched Seinfeld when it happened.
Yeah.
So you get a different perspective on it. So I've gone back to watch it. I went back to watch Friends.
Yeah.
Friends is totally different from me now.
Totally different.
Quite racist and sexist, actually.
Yeah, quite.
Yeah, but at the time it wasn't.
No. Yeah.
And that's what, back to the wreckage.
Maybe it was, but we just weren't recognising it.
We weren't, though. That's what I mean. We weren't recognising that. Yeah. Like, it's the same thing with train wreckage, right? This Woodstock 1999 idea.
Train wreck. Watch it on Netflix.
Yeah, watch it on Netflix. No, but serious. We'll write a fan. A shipper's on... Well, I think there was already
those
shipping
two people
going
in the background that we really wanted to get together.
I think there was a lot of shipping going on at Woodstock, just saying. Definitely. Publicly. Very public. Watch the documentary. Shit, now I lost where I was going. No shippers. So, in Friends, it's about Ross and Rachel. And it's that sexual tension where they don't hook up, and then they do hook up, and then they don't hook up. And Seinfeld, they say it's the show about nothing. But it is about something. Yeah. And it's about relationships. Yeah. It's about dating and dates going wrong and being picky about a partner. But shippers,
both,
is the other way, right? It's about hooking up, right? Yeah.
I mean, often it's about it not happening. So you're just like, come on!
So it's still the tension in there.
Just kiss, you bastards! And then a whole season passes and you're like, so much wasted potential. And then 7 season passes and you're like, oh my God, it's not meant to happen, okay. And that's shipping point, which is why fan fiction exists, because then all the people get frustrated by it, so they just go write their own version.
Their own story,
Yeah, and it's usually really randy.
Oh man,
it's way filthier than the show.
It's super is. Yeah, but it's like, what do you call it, like romance novels, man? So it's like romance novel fan fiction.
Yeah.
One thing that when I was back in my uni days, one we studied was about Star Trek.
Yeah.
And that's where Spock and Kirk hook up, and they have this relationship, and people are upset about the relationship because he's a Vulcan and he's an Earthling, and they're on the same ship together, and it's fraternization.
Ship.
Yes.
Sorry.
Great callback.
Another use for the word shipping.
Yeah.
Anyway, keep going.
Yeah. No. Totally. But that's what shipping is, right?
Yeah.
So, putting the story about how... But I like the idea. I was under the impression that it was about exclusively hooking up, but explaining the tension where you get them close to hooking up and then you crash the ship and don't let them have it.
And sometimes it is just an analysis. Like, people want to feel represented, but then they get baited and these relationships never happen. And it's just like, oh, because two girls can't get together, you know?
Yeah.
And so, you know...
Well, I think people will be a bit off-put by Spock, you know, making out with Kirk. You know, some people were like, the ear, but some people are like, oh, the ears, man, that's great.
Well, I remember, it wasn't that long ago, actually, there was some kind of announcements officially calling... Kirk bisexual, and the entire fandom was pretty much like, yeah, not surprised. Like,
Have you seen the uniforms?
not shocked.
They're wearing spandex, man. Like they're pretty. You know, they do look pretty gay.
So I feel like the Star Trek fandom gets it. Like they're great fandom.
Yeah, totally. I think definitely. They're very 50s orientated gay looking. You know, they're always happy, always smiling.
Love that fandom.
And you know,
I feel like they're really inclusive fandom. Because some fandoms are not. I don't know if we should mention which ones are not.
Oh, really? So there's like there's a controversy in the shipping world of fandoms versus other fandoms.
Well, having said that, shippers are often not welcome in a fandom. And
really?
I feel like the one that gets spoken about the most is in Star Wars.
Okay.
Because once you, obviously Star Wars had some iconic romances in there.
Oh, yeah.
But in the recent ones, when they had...
There was even some really weird ones in there, a little bit, yeah.
Once you go into...
Leia, Luke, that's your brother, mate. Just saying.
Don't do it! Don't do it!
I know you're trying to piss off your future husband.
No! He's not just your brother, he's your twin brother!
Jesus.
I don't know how that's worse or better, but just...
So the Star Wars fandoms don't like that, though.
Oh, look, there's always a minority of people within a fandom who are like, if you're only watching it for the romances, then you're an idiot, tween, hormonal twat that can't... But I'm just like, can't people just enjoy stuff for the reason they want to?
There's nothing wrong with enjoying racy content.
It's not even racy. It's like a freaking PG kiss.
Oh, no, not that part. I mean the fandom, like people like making racy relationships. Like, I'm just trying to think who is Chewie hooking up with, you know?
Well, that's true. But you know what? Shippers aren't even, half of them just love the tension building. They're like the moments before anything happens. They're like, oh my God, they looked at each other. And they lose it.
Yeah.
And they make entire videos about it.
Wow, the thrill of the chase. So that
It's
seems to be a
all
big
part of it.
driver of it, is the thrill of the chase, not rather than just the conclusion.
Oh, well, that's why a lot of writers when they're making those long 7-8 season shows, are like, we can't get our main characters together because then you lose that tension.
Yeah.
They refuse to do it. I'm like, no.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like that's the sort of bedrock of a lot of narratives, is that sexual tension.
Yeah.
Where they can't hook up because then the audience goes, hook up, keep hooking up. And if you have them at that point, they're going to keep watching. Because they go, maybe this episode, they will hook up.
Finally,
they'll hook up and do it. That's fascinating. I really like that. I'm a bit of a fan of romance novels. I think I'm going to check out more shipping.
Oh, it's good fun. It's just good fun. People get, and just, I don't know, they're having a fun ride. That's all that matters.
It sounds a bit wholesome as well. Racy but wholesome.
Yeah. Oh, and look, you go into AO3 and you read some fan fiction and it can get not wholesome.
Yeah. Not so wholesome.
Not so wholesome.
Well, I'm just trying to think how you can romanticize Star Wars a little bit. So, and then Chewie walked into the cockpit with his quivering member.
Lower voice. Yes.
Sorry.
Really sell it for us, please.
Yeah. So
we were talking about husky voices earlier.
He was aboard the Millennium Falcon and walked into the cockpit. And we could see his quivering member.
Yeah. See, 10 things I hate about you. The word quivering member will always be associated with that movie.
Yeah, that's where I stole it from. Totally borrowed it. Totally nicked that. Reginald's quivering member. There was Reginald's quivering member, I believe.
Oh, that is right.
Yeah. Because Kat leaves the office and goes, I'll leave you to Reginald's quivering member. And she's like, quivering member. I like that.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that movie. Yeah. That was such a good movie. It really was.
Oh, it was
It was a good time of life too when that came out.
All those movies back then.
Yeah,
it was like an age.
That's what I'm talking about. There's a decade where you go, that movie was made then.
Yes.
And now you go, when did they make I suppose they got Lord of the Rings?
2001.
Yeah, but that's still pre the phone.
Lord of the Rings is what got me into movies.
Oh, really?
Literally.
Have you done any shipping of Lord of the Rings?
Oh, not really. It was the behind the scenes of that. I watched that stuff religiously. And then I watched the extended version with the commentary, both of them, because it was the director's commentary.
What is that, 15 hours?
And then the actor's commentary. And the actor's commentary was just fun. It was just them being like, oh, yeah, remember these.
15 hours?
I don't know, but I watched it all.
I'm going to find that. Let's have a guess. How long is Lord of the Rings entirely?
Well, the extended versions, I think, were almost 5 hours each, weren't they?
Yeah, okay.
Maybe between 4 and 5. I
All right,
think.
let's find out. So,
It's
what's
been
your
a
total?
while. I was 13. I'm not anymore.
What do you reckon? What do you reckon it is? Okay, I'm gonna go 18 hours total. Duration, which isn't spelt with a G for some reason.
Come on.
Duration.
You are typing at a weird angle. So
This
it's
is
all
a weird
right.
angle. Total duration of Lord of the Rings extended version. That's going to look horrible. Let's see how that turned out. Okay.
Oh, 11
hours, 22 minutes,
Totally
kids.
reasonable.
It's totally reasonable.
And I watched that both as a movie and then with the commentary. More than once.
Wow. Wow, that's a whole bag of wow.
But I loved it. Like, I don't know. There's something about basically it was the horses galloping in a paddock. I was like, yes, I'm going to film that.
Yeah. Oh, actually, yeah, there's one horse scene in all of movie history that it always gets a lump in my throat.
Don't even. It's going to be
Never ending
Never-ending
story.
story.
For 2 points, what is the name of the horse?
Oh,
Can't remember.
cannot remember.
It's Atreyu.
Atreyu.
No, Artex.
Artex.
Yeah, because Atreyu's the guy that rides the horse, and it's Artex is the name of the
I
horse.
literally haven't watched that movie since I was a kid.
Oh, he goes,
I can't deal with that.
Artex.
Can't.
And he,
Nah.
don't think of the sadness.
Animal stuff gets me. It gets me.
It's one of the biggest bad guys in a movie, though, I reckon.
Yeah.
In a Never-Ending Story. Because remember the bad guy in the Never-Ending Story?
I legitimately cannot remember it.
It's called The Nothing.
Just remember that horse
Cool.
time.
No, but it's not even a character. It's The Nothing. Because the nothing is killing imagination. And the dream is dying.
Damn, I need to rewatch that movie.
Yeah,
That
it's
sounds
really
good.
deep, man. So they've got to name the childlike empress to then give her a new name so she can rebuild the Never-Ending Story. Right? I can't remember the name of the land actually, but the nothing is shrinking it down, and it goes down just to the tower, and it comes to the last grain of sand, and it is handed to him, and he has to give it back to her and give her a name. It's really good.
That's so good.
Super good. And it's the again, watching Stranger Things put me back onto the Never-Ending Story. Oh man, I love that show. It was really good, but yeah, and then I watched the horse scene. I'm like, don't kill Artex. No, but Artex comes back though. They all come back in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he flies with the Chihuahua dragon.
I was watching the
Is it a
Sand.
Chihuahua or is it a poodle? I'm not sure.
I was watching the Sandman on Netflix,
I want to watch that.
and in the first episode, like I'm gonna say pet, but a pet dies. I'm like, oh, damn it.
Yeah.
And then episode 2 came along, and he's gonna he has to sacrifice another pet. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna pause here. I'm going to come back to it because I can't deal with this stuff. I can't do it. I can't do the pet stuff. I'm like, no, stop killing animals.
Yeah, that's the rules though in film, right? The rules in film is don't kill a dog, don't kill a kid, and
Dog trailers make me cry. Like when I watch a movie for a dog trailer, I'm like, oh shit, it gets me.
I love dogs. I'm a
You
dog
watch
person.
all the human stuff, totally desensitized to that, which is a whole thing, by the way.
That's
Apparently,
again though back to that digital thing about we've moved that violence into pop culture. And except for maybe from the States at the moment. I feel terrible for some people over there, and the gun violence and whatnot.
it's scary.
There's no solution to it. Not that I want to go into that conversation.
No, gosh.
But I think you could argue, it is as violent as it's ever been.
Yeah.
And I think I don't think it has. I think more people are alive now than they've ever been. And that's true. There's 7.5 billion people on the planet.
Yeah, we're exponentially increasing population at a scary
Oh
rate.
man, I used to be in a conspiracy metal band,
Yeah.
right? So I know a lot about this, right?
Oh,
If you take a oil graph, an oil production graph, and put it next to a population graph, they meet in time scale. They're exactly the same. Oil production is the same rate of human production. Strange, huh?
Interesting.
Yeah, because petrol allows us to move around and bang each other a little bit more and get into that, shipping fandom.
Yeah. Yes.
Spock can just duck down the road and, not that he can, I've gone down the wrong path there. It's not a good callback.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I suppose the Wookiee can't impregnate another, unless it's another Wookiee, right? Anyway, I'm trying to get to procreation.
Yeah.
And that's related to oil production. Yeah. And like another thing about the population graph is really interesting to me is the World War One. You can see a little dent in the graph.
Yeah.
World War Two, no dent.
Oh.
It's a straight curve. So heaps of people died in World War Two. Tens of millions of people died.
Yeah.
Right? Doesn't show up on the graph. It doesn't show up in the ratio of the graph. That's how many people there are. So even World War Two couldn't wipe us out.
Yeah, wow.
So there's more people than ever. More people die. Less people die in wars now than ever.
Oh, yeah.
Crazy statistic. Like of all the wars that we're fighting,
Is
and
that
all
because they don't do like the lines of people just
we
walking
don't put person
towards-
against person anymore. It's
Yeah.
machine against person, really.
Yeah.
Because even if you think of rifles, that's a machine versus a person.
Yep.
There's a distance between those two things.
Yeah.
And in fact, like this is an interesting fact about firearms and warfare. You might be interested in.
Yeah.
Most people they call it aim off. So you can train your soldier to go and shoot somebody, but when it comes to the time, I can't remember I think it's near 80% of people, because we're all programmed not to hurt people.
Yeah.
And hurting people, there's there's exceptions. There's serial killers in the world, right?
Always, yeah.
So they have a different brain chemistry than the rest of us.
Yep.
So they need excitement through violence to excite them. But most people aren't like that.
No.
In fact, if you went to see an animal be slaughtered and you haven't seen that before, you would go, "Oh, that's a bit rough."
Yeah.
You know, seeing the innards of an animal is rough for somebody.
Yeah.
Never alone shooting at somebody.
Yeah.
You know, so when you go up to shoot somebody for the first time, for most soldiers, they go, "Oh, I can't do that."
Yeah.
It's called aim off.
Aim off.
Yeah. So the military tries to combat aim off to make more effective soldiers. Yeah.
Oh, that is interesting.
Crazy thought. Yeah. The CIA back in the States, they were trying to use LSD to fix that. I don't know how that was going to work, but
LSD can fix everything.
that's how desperate they were to fix this problem in warfare. What a problem to have.
I don't want to kill someone.
Yeah, I can't believe. Yeah, I phrased it as a problem. This issue, still not an issue.
This thing.
This factor of life about not wanting to take one's life and others is a definite thing, and they try to combat that. And I don't think they've ever succeeded at that. It's not something you can change. You can't change human nature like that.
Probably a good thing.
I'd say so. But again, though, when you're in the battlefield with swords,
of course.
you're in a more violent time, and you would have the spoils of war. They would collect the valuables off the dead, and that's how they'd feed their family. It's a different deal. It's not how warfare is these days. You got a bank account and you get paid. You're essentially a mercenary for the government, essentially. Unless you're a Ukrainian, you know, you don't have a choice. Like, you have a choice. Ukrainians at the moment don't have a choice. You know, but I think, that's an interesting fact that it's a machine. It's the machine versus people in that regard. Another scary idea, the machine versus people. But maybe I don't know. I really think the phone, though, is going to help us. I think we're going to fix the environment.
Oh, the phone.
Yeah, I think we'll fix it.
We've got to come out with a silver lining, okay?
We have to. It's too morbid and negative, man, to think that we're all going to be starve of oxygen and never...
The internet and the metaverse will save us.
In the metaverse, yeah. Well, imagine that, though. Like, you take shipping and fandom, right, into the metaverse, and then you could, like here's an example, like Halo, for instance, right? Mm-hmm. These kids got in trouble because you could do camera angles in Halo, so you can record your game.
Yeah.
So you can have two characters that are going through the game, and you can record different character angles and do voices. So you could do lines and talk in the game and record that scene. So there's these two kids that made a feature-length film using Halo as the content vehicle to build it.
Yeah.
And they got in trouble from Halo because they didn't have the rights to it. And then they went and actually made the movie. So they made the movie Halo using this methodology of using a computer game to make it. Right?
Those poor kids are just creating fan art. Come on.
Yeah, but that fan art went bananas. They're just a couple of kids playing in their bedrooms, writing this story and getting involved in this story and about this computer game that they loved.
Yeah.
Again, though, I think we're starting to get that touchstone on what digital means.
Yeah.
And I think the stories we tell, this pop culture story that we're regurgitating at the moment, perhaps that is the identifier of where we're at.
Maybe.
You know, we're currently reflecting in the Black Mirror.
Yeah.
And having a look at all these negative things and erasing them and manoeuvring out of them and moving towards, conservation and preservation.
No, I hope.
I hope so. Well, you're from the country, man. You would have an understanding that perhaps city folk don't. Like you can see the land in action, and people that work land to get a product out of it.
Yeah.
And you know those cultures and understand that you only get out of something what you put into it.
Yeah.
And that's definitely a country mentality. You got to put in the hard yakka.
Yeah.
To get something. If you want something, you got to work for it.
Yeah.
I think like today I had an interaction with a very lovely Karen at a cafe, which reminded me some people are just a little bit too entitled.
Yeah.
And I think that's a city attribute.
Oh, I've had the same conversation with someone we just did a project with, and we had an interaction with a person, and I had to explain that like if this is the thing that they're complaining about, then their worldview is so small that you can't combat that. You just have to.
There's no you can't negotiate with that.
You can't negotiate with that at all.
Yeah, you can only block yourself off and protect yourself, essentially, and try to give them the best opportunities to succeed.
Yeah.
And sometimes that could be a very narrow window.
Very.
Very
narrow.
Very narrow window. Yeah, I think these fandoms and these stories that we tell, like I've been running a narrative in my mind since I was like 9. I've got a sci-fi story about, again, Mars is involved, but it's in the past. So my story idea, I shouldn't say too much about it. Someone's gonna
I know, I won't talk about this story idea I have, but I don't want to talk about it on the podcast.
I don't want to talk about it on the podcast.
We'll talk about it offline, okay?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you this part about it. It's about Mars colonizing Earth.
Yeah.
And Earth is an experiment because Mars is already technologically advanced, and they terraform Earth, move the moon into a position where they create the tide, and they create seasons on the Earth, and then they seed the Earth, and they put life on it, and then dinosaurs come about, and their plan is to let dinosaurs reign, let the coal develop, and make this planet. And but then they're hit by a big meteorite, and Mars has lost its magnetosphere, and then they exit Mars, and then they go we have to go to Earth. It is the only salvation we have. This comet is coming, and it ain't stopping. We can't stop it. We can go there. We can go and terraform this planet, but we can't stop this comet.
Yeah.
So they have to leave and go to their petri dish.
Their backup.
Yeah, their backup plan. And then the civilization gets lost. All the information is lost because the crazies take over.
The crazies.
Yeah, but they're there. Like I'm telling you, watch Trainwreck. You'll see what I'm talking about. So many calls back to Trainwreck.
Watch it on Netflix.
Yeah, but it's definitely it's a window into a human idea of anarchy. We are party animals and anarchists, but we're also storytellers.
Yeah.
And I think it comes down to as well, we're all like this evolved being that's come from a lizard. We were a lizard at some point, swatting flies, which is pretty cool. Like I can. Give it a go. Can't do it. I don't think I can get it out that far. No. Can't eat flies. But I can definitely hang from a tree because that's the monkey part.
Yes.
All right. And then we've got the cerebral cortex right at the front now, and that's Einstein. That's Michelangelo. That's guys sending dick pics all over the internet. It's
a lot of men apparently.
It's a lot of men. It's Hedy Lamarr. There we go. Invented Wi-Fi. She didn't actually invent Wi-Fi, but she invented the technology that allowed Wi-Fi to be invented. It's radio hopping, just saying. She was the one who made torpedoes talk to radio hop, so you couldn't intercept a torpedo. Again, back to warfare, though.
Always.
Do you know the story of Hedy Lamarr? Do you know the story of her? Yeah, the actress, and she was a scientist.
Yeah.
Which is fucking boss. I just think
so good.
It's so good. She built a torpedo that because the Germans were intercepting because they were controlled by radio, so they'd steer a torpedo towards a ship using a radio signal. Yeah. Germans figured out just block the signal and we'll take over it and drive it back to them.
Yeah.
And they go, that's a shit idea. So we need to come up with an idea to fix that. And Hedy Lamarr created radio hopping. So it would change frequencies every 5 seconds. And that frequency changing is the platform for Wi-Fi, which I think is fucking awesome. That's back in the 40s, man.
Yeah.
She was a glamour. She's. I'll pull a photo up of her up, actually. I'll get it for our viewers out there. Being an actress and a scientist.
Yes.
I can't think of anything better. It's just so cool. Super cool. We should do a fandom on that. Hedy Lamarr. The story of Hedy Lamarr. Hedy. I think it's like that. Lamarr. Did you get that right?
Before I got into filmmaking.
It was a Y and a double R. There she is. Whack that. Oh, come on. Get that up there. Come on. Come. Work with me. Right, there we go. Hedy Lamarr. There she is, guys. Yeah, absolute glamour. Invented radio hopping on torpedoes, man.
Cool.
Silver screen actress. Silver screen actress, right? That's the cerebral cortex, man.
Yeah.
That's human. That's what it is being human, man. And we do amazing things. We fly. We do computing. We got the digital age. The analog age was amazing. Never mind the digital age. Fashion, textiles, rubber on roads, man, But also toxic waste. Fucking pollution. Fucking death, destruction, disease.
Oh,
There's two sides to the coin, and that's the part that I'm worried about, Are we ever going to go back to... I don't think we ever go back the way it was, was it better in the past? I don't think so. I think we're in the best time ever. Mm. And maybe not since the 90s. Just really
Trainwreck, watch it on Netflix.
Yeah, I know, but I have to admit that the anarchist in me, the producer in me was horrified. They gave them candles and they burnt the fucking place down. They ran out of medical supplies. People are being raped. There's orgies in every fucking corner and people are taking ecstasy, pouring mud on each other. I go, I could go to that party. Maybe not the rape part. That's a bit harsh, but... that's in the violence, and burning it down. But up until that Armageddon point, seeing Korn and being in that crowd that's going up and down. As a producer though, you'd be like, horrific.
That's terrifying.
It's terrifying.
Oh no.
Yeah, I worry about people tripping over it.
Yes, same.
We got to make sure that people are safe, everyone, okay? And if we have any trolls in here that start heckling any of our artists, we're going to get them out, we're going to sort that out, and anyone who causes trouble, we're going to get rid of them, and make sure we know no trip hazards, and make sure we know where the fire exits are in case there is an emergency, and we can protect our audience.
Yes.
We look at it that way,
No
then,
candles.
Yeah, but then you see, the fire festival, and, have you seen that one?
No.
Another horrific story to watch about producing a festival. It's funny because when I watch those things, I can see that the people I work with, I go, that's Jay. That one's missed. That prick there being an arsehole, that's definitely me. That's definitely me. Yeah, I gotta wear that one. That's me. The monomaniacal control freak. That could be the venue. Who knows? Actually, not. My venue's very good. I shouldn't say that. We love you guys. Thanks for the email today, by the way. I don't know. I don't know about the 90s versus now, and the 80s versus now, and the noughties versus now, and the teenies. Is that what we call it? What do we call the...
Oh, I've no idea.
There's noughties, because it took a while to...
It didn't stick for me, so...
The noughties took a while to stick, though, because we're calling it the dots for a bit there, and then it turned into and then the noughties was like, oh, well, that sticks. Cause then
it's great.
It fits together. It kind of gives it a bit of flavour to the decade. Yeah. We came out of 2000. I think another thing that changed for us, though, was the towers going down. That was pretty shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that set the narrative. Terror. We're going to go into a war on terror. What does, to channel Steve Hughes, what does war create? More terror. Yeah. So we're going to go to war against terror to create more terror.
I'm sure...
Sounds like a solid plan.
I'm sure more fashion-savvy people would have an answer, but I just can't picture what dressing like the noughties is, though.
I don't know. Let's check it out. Maybe the internet knows.
Well, the internet knows way more than me.
Oh, god damn, she's a glamour. I really like Hedy Lamarr. What an amazing lady. Let's get another one. What am I looking up again?
Noughties.
2000s fashion. If I put the noughties fashion in, I think I'll get something else on the internet. I might get something a bit more fandom than not. Okay, so this is apparently... that looks like the 90s.
Jeans and a shirt.
Jeans and a shirt. That's it. Oh, I better put that in line.
Jeans and a shirt.
This is what we found, folks. Apparently, that's the noughties right there. Let's just get a zoom on that.
Well, hang on. There's also a lot of tracksuit pants in those other pictures.
There's tracky tags.
It's just all trackies the same colour as your top.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, okay.
Icon.
Yeah, okay. I like Icon. Yeah, see, that's 90s to me. That looks 90s. Okay,
Yeah.
let's try 2010s. See where we get on that. Come on, buddy. Let's go. Yeah. That's 90s. That right there, that Eshe stuff, man. That's 90s. Yeah, 90s. See, we can't get out of it.
Jeans and a shirt.
Jeans and a shirt. But look, check this out.
We became really uninventive.
Let's do 1980s fashion. Oh no! Oh damn ya! 1980s fashion. Almost made it. 1980s fashion. Let's have a look at that. Iconic.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Oh.
Straight up, man. Like that's that's 80s.
Hair and clothes.
Yeah, and the tracksuits,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's pushing towards 90s. That's still 80s-ish.
Double denim, anyone?
Double denim. Gotta love the double denim. And, you know, easily, let's do the 70s, all right?
Oh, my goodness.
70s fashion.
Give us them flares.
Flares. There we go. See, it's like, you know, again, coming out of the 60s,
Bold
but
colours.
more nylon, more polyester.
Mm.
But then, you know, 60s. Yeah, there we go. Oh, that's a really high res one. Come on. Oh, is that all you got? Oh, give me another one. Thank you, internet.
Even the hairstyles.
Hairstyles, man. It's like, you know, right?
Yeah.
And we don't seem to have it.
What happened?
I don't know. I think it's the phone. I really think it's the phone. The phone's changed it. The phone fragmented it all. Yeah. The phone fragmented it, and yeah, I don't know what's going to happen after that. What is our fandom for the future?
I don't know.
You put me under too much pressure today, Ross. You're asking me. I don't have a goddamn crystal ball.
I mean, if anything, sci-fi has taught me is that women will have a bob.
Yeah.
Every woman in a sci-fi has a bob. Bob haircut.
I think they do that for the zero gravity scenes.
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
'Cause it's too hard to do it. Yeah, I don't know, man. What's the future hold? I think we're going to fix it. I really think they're going to fix the environment. We're starting to move towards it.
Bloody hope so. Like, I try to picture what it's going to be like when I'm 80.
Mm.
And if it continues the way it is, it's like...
We're going to need an oxygen mask.
Yeah.
It's going to be
the first 5 minutes of Avatar. Which I need to rewatch because I also can't remember.
Yeah, Avatar. Yeah, that was like Fern Gully meets the Terminator, wasn't it?
I think so.
Yeah. James Cameron, Garbo driver, gone crazy.
It was good fun.
Yeah, it was. Look, man, check out the credits on that show, on that movie. Have you seen? Yeah, they're all computer programmers.
Yeah.
So they're all like rotoscopers
It's
and
just all in that blue set.
Yeah.
Blue screen set.
Yeah, well, I think they're doing interesting things now, like the Mandalorian, man. What they're doing with what they did with the Mandalorian is amazing.
Can we talk about virtual production, please?
Yes. Totally. The virtual production on that, $50 million an episode or whatever it was. Ridiculous budget. Just give me, 1 million of that and I can live out my life happily.
Please.
Maybe it'll get me half an apartment in Sydney. But anyway.
Yeah, maybe.
A one bedroom with no toilet.
Shared bathroom.
Yeah.
No parking.
Has a view of a brick wall. Thin walls. We've gone too far. Man, I've lost my track now because I'm thinking about house prices.
Virtual production.
I'm stressing out about the house prices in Sydney. $50 million. I just need one of them. Production of the Mandalorian was fucking impressive, man. So they've mixed. So it's all about perspective shooting, right?
Yep.
They brought back projection, which I think is really cool because then the actor's in the set, which is super cool. Yeah.
One thing I wish that we had more of is finding those. This is just from like that new emerging filmmaker perspective. Is how do you get someone there? How do you get someone to like who's never done it before into a production, which is making using
Super
virtual
hard.
production?
Super hard.
And I've been just thinking about what can I do to teach people, because I don't know it either. Like how can I include it in my workflow and all that kind of stuff when I don't know the first thing about it Like, really.
Yeah, I think it comes
Aside
down to
from what I've seen.
Yeah, you're talking about accessibility, right? And I think finding access to those spaces is probably the first point of call. But finding people that know how to operate those spaces and getting access to them, that's a hard one. Like, even through the festival, right? The whole idea of the festival is to create a platform.
Yep.
And then you create that platform, and then people see that as a target, and they want to target that with content. Yeah. And they want to get their content on that screen. Yeah. And they want to go through the process of making that content to go on that screen. Yeah. Because there's different sort of groups of people that enter. There's the beginners, there's the rock and roll stars that have been doing it for 5-10 years. Yeah. And then there's the people who are just starting to get that entry level into festivals. Yep. And that creates a pool of people that now can share and network skills. So that's the other sort of residual effect of Made in the West is put them all in one room, see what happens.
Mix.
Give them some wine, see what happens. Get them talking. And we would even say that in our commentary of the night. Don't forget to go and talk to some people tonight. Yeah. Go and share your ideas and share business cards and see if you can collaborate. Yeah. Because together we are super strong, and we see it happening, right? We got a big shout out to the guys here out west, which is playing on the 14th of August on ABC. Yeah, go and check it out. A cohort of directors in that film have won Made in the West. I think there's 3 winners that are in that actually, and a few other people from our community that have made this movie. Yeah. Right? And that's a feature film. Yeah. It's playing on TV and it's on demand, right? And it's really good. Yeah. It
is amazing.
Super amazing. And I saw an excellent comment today on one of my on a social media post from a lecturer from university that I know that says you have to watch this film. And the context they put it in. If you want to know how to get somewhere, go and talk and watch this film and go talk to these people that made this film. Yeah. And they're accessible, right? So it comes back to that digital production. It's about accessibility. You've got to create the space. Yeah. And then you've got to create the reason to be in the space. Yeah. Then you've got to create the hype about the space. Yeah. And then you've got to get the talent in there.
The one thing that always fascinates me in our industry, especially if you're trying to move into long form, is you're not allowed to do something because you haven't done it. And that's constantly the barrier. It's like, oh, well, and I remember, like, I've seen it in terms of applications for funding and all that kind of stuff. It's like, oh, this person's been in the industry for 15 years, but they haven't written for TV, so they can't. And it's like, how do you get out of that cycle of you don't have the credit, therefore you can't do it?
Oh, I think we're in a different era now, really. I'm really glad you've asked this. This is a great question. You don't worry about that. You don't worry about not writing for TV. You don't worry about not writing a film. What you do is you go and write a TV episode and you go and make it, because everything is accessible now. It's easier to make a pilot now than it's ever been. And there's festivals out there even that cater for that. The SF3 festival, big shout out to those guys.
Yeah, that's great.
They're making movies on phones, man, that are really good. Yeah. They're internationally acclaimed films, and it's only going to be short before long that these things are going to be in long form content. They're already doing it. They're already doing it around the world. They're already doing it here. But it's about that accessibility.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, even to just go out and make it, you still need, like, a bunch of mates who can also just have a week. To make something that's a feature-length thing, maybe more like 4 weeks off, you can just go do this thing with each other. And I'm just like, even that sort of frustrates me a little bit. Like, what is even the entry-level jobs to kind of work your way up within the system, if you do want to work there, are really hard to access.
Yeah, I think
it just fascinates me. Like, I like thinking about this question.
Yeah, I was talking to someone who's recently come back from the States, and they're working in the States film industry, and they were talking. It's just all about the money, man. Money. Yeah, it's all about the process. It's a job that you will eventually hate going to. Because you're just pushed until you break, and then you're replaced. It's a turn and burn industry. Yeah. Unless you're at the top echelons of it, it's a turn and burn industry. And I think we're in Australia. We're in the the film goes through waves. There's the film waves that happen in Australia. The Ozploitation film movement. Mad Max, Running on Empty. Big shout out to Running on Empty Film Festival. That will be out in November. Shameless plug there, I know. Big shout out to John De Bruin, love you, man. Festivals. What was I talking about festivals for?
I can't remember.
I lost the fucking track there. I totally got Because now I'm thinking about
You're
running
talking
an
about
NFT.
the money churning out. Then you talk
Oh,
about-
the industry. Yes. We have an opportunity because there's a new film wave happening in Australia, and there's two regions that I see this happening. And Western Sydney is one of them. There's 3 regions actually: Western Sydney, Western Melbourne, and Perth. There's a bit of a rise going on over there. And there's other major cities are doing it as well, but the ones that I think are the real front runners for filmmaking at the moment is Western Sydney and West Melbourne. And yes, far behind that is Perth. They're like about 10 years behind where Western Sydney was when I started the festival here.
Don't tell them that, yes.
Yeah, no, well, no, I think, well, I know this because I met those guys because I reckon they looked up, we want to do a festival. Let's call it Made in the West. Fuck! No. It's been taken. Who are these people?
Who are these? Sydney?
Western Sydney?
You're on the East Coast. What are you talking about?
It's not even West. What does that even mean? Yeah, I think we have an opportunity to form the foundations of our industry properly.
Yeah.
And I think there are civil movements at the moment that have garnered that, fairness in the workplace, giving people a fair shake of the sauce bottle, creating accessibility, not looking at things as diverse but inclusive. We're already doing these things.
Yeah.
But I think from a union point of view and, the low-rung worker point of view, this is where we got to explore that space to protect that, to make it inviting.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, people that work in nursing homes get paid that less than people that pack shelves. It's not an industry that you go, I'm going to make a lot of money in that industry. Yeah. Well, try the arts out. You're not going to get anywhere near that kind of money.
Exposure frequently.
Yeah. You're going to learn how to, put exposure in the oven and cook it, and then, save it for tomorrow in the fridge.
It tastes great.
Yeah. A bit of salt with your exposure. We need to protect that aspect of it. And I think I really believe that it's done at the grassroots, it's done at the festival level, it's done at the short film festival level, and it's done at the music industry. It's done at the the pub level where people are getting into bands. And if you look through those, and I hopped in and out of both of that most of my life, and it's fucking horrible. Really, to get a show on, it's fucking hard. And you got to deal with assholes, and you got to deal with there's people that own that hold all the keys and are guarding all the doors, and you're not invited unless you get the right attention. Yeah. Unless you know the right people, and there's a lot of luck involved in exposure, right? I mean, actual exposure. Yeah. Profitable exposure, exposure that has a price tag at the end of it that ends up in your hands. A living, one might call it. It's super hard in Australia, is my point. It's super hard. Like, the States is different, Europe is different. Yeah. But we are going through an adolescence in Australia at the moment. There's a film wave that's happening. I predict in the next 5 to 7 years that film wave is really going to pick up, because all these people that are entering these film festivals are now coming of age. They're in their 30s now. Yeah. They've got more money behind them. They know how to apply for funding. They have written a TV series. They have written a movie. Yeah. They've gone out and done these things. And that's what I mean. Those two things that we're talking about there are tied together. Yeah. If you're asking, how does one crack that nut? Don't even worry about that nut. That nut is nuts. Do your own thing. Get your own traction. Start up your own channel. Be a part of different podcasts. Be a part of different forums. Go to different festivals. Yeah. There's plenty of things like this going on.
Well, that's what I figured out as well. Like, you just sort of have to work within the space that you can. Yeah. And then it sort of just leads to other things as well. For me, it was like trying to work out how to make it survivable, though.
Yeah, well.
Because, like, it's so exhausting.
Yeah, if you're doing the gig economy, like, because I work full time and I do the gig economy. Yeah. I'd like, for instance, I did a 10-hour day today. Now, it was a whirlwind just getting here. Getting to this point was a whirlwind.
So on the last shoot that I did, I asked everyone, what do you think about this whole 10-hour day business? Like, this mandatory 10-hour day business.
It's expected.
And that, like, shits me. Because when I was working just, like, as a promo producer, it was 9 to 5. Like, it was, you had some long days, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, like, you have a deadline, you push out to 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock, whatever.
Like, one time, this was for a very random reason, I did, like, 7 a.m. to 11 p.m., but it was, like, one day. It was because I was going on holidays.
You're prepping for the future. That's a bit different.
But to me, it's that, like, I get, because it's not a 10-hour day. You travel there, 10-hour day, you get home, and then you go do the work as well that you haven't done because you're on set all day. And I'm just like, it's just not, to me, it's just not manageable. And it's why you said it's a turn of, like, turn and burn them.
Yeah. Someone else will replace you.
Well, that's why
Easily.
for shippers, I was like, nah, I'm going to experiment and make it an 8-hour day shoot. And most people have been shocked.
See, that's not normal. You're being abnormal
why
there.
not try?
Normal is telling someone to work 10 hours a day for very low pay.
Well, I don't want
sociopathic.
I'm just like, even as the producer, I'm freaking tired. I was like, I just did it. I just did a 10-day shoot and it was 10-hour days. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah,
because it's over it. And I'm like, why am I making it a miserable experience as the producer? Why don't I give it a go? And it added 4 days to the shoot because, we had to, obviously you have to add something somewhere.
Yeah, but maybe you got more production out of it.
Well, I haven't done the shoot yet, but we'll see how it goes.
Well, that's the thing that I've learned through COVID, man, is remote working, less hours, but more focused hours at different intersections of my work. I've actually gotten more stuff done than I've ever done in my life.
Same.
I've done so much work, man.
Yeah.
During COVID, man, I built, me and my team, we built an online festival, a magazine.
Yep.
We still did our jobs. We still performed there.
Yeah.
We built, I don't know how many productions. We made a couple of documentaries. I released an EP. We did a lot of work, and that was less work than I'm doing now.
Well, even shippers, we had 5 riders, 2 are from Melbourne. To even think about doing that before COVID.
Yeah, it's impossible.
It's like, you wouldn't have thought of that. But now it's just, it's so easy to do it online. You'll get together on a weekend or whatever it might be.
Oh, look, I met a colleague today that I've never met in person for 2 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, isn't that novel?
I love We met today. We're like, Zoom in 3D. This is great.
Yeah. Well, the last shoot that we just did, which was for, it was my first Screen Australia funded web series. It was called No Ordinary Love. Also romance, yes.
Ooh, romance.
Bring it on. But I hadn't met any of the team until we were there on day one. I think we did a photo shoot maybe, so we met each other first there. But I was just like, whoa, we've been chatting for a year. You're all real.
Yeah.
Like we just lost it.
Yeah. But, here's a spitty one for you. Okay, because I've got a problem with people that don't turn their cameras on Zoom. Oh. Like, turn your camera on. What are you hiding?
What are you hiding?
I don't care if you're in PJs. You should see what I get up to in this room. It's crazy. I've spoken too much on this podcast.
Oh my God. Shipping.
Want to do a fan fiction on Trainwreck. I'll remove the rape though. We'll take that part out of it, and the violence. We'll take that part out and put in the good stuff. Where was I going now? I'm back on Trainwreck again.
You don't like people who don't turn their cameras on.
Oh yeah, the Zoom people out there. If you're out there in Zoom land, turn your fucking camera on. Jesus fucking Christ. I'm sick of people that don't turn their camera on, but think of this as a crazy idea. Deep fake. So you can deep fake yourself on Zoom, potentially in the future. Yeah. You see the parodies that are out there at the moment. There's a guy on a bike with a green screen behind him with a laptop that's taped to his face, and got a green screen, green around him, so he's like got his room background, but he's out doing a bike ride. Yeah. You see those parodies, but there is a space there where you can go. You can totally deep fake your Zoom call. Maybe I can create a digital version of myself, create a digital avatar, and have that guy go to meetings for me. Just emulate all of the information out of the Pagey train and just use that to answer questions. And be like, train wreck, space, too much violence, guns. I think I'd need to work out the kinks in my avatar.
I think so.
Shippers. So how far along in Shippers are you?
All the scripts are written.
Yeah.
The 2 leads are cast. Almost done with the application for funding. Just gotta apply it, and then November 14 is when we're scheduled to shoot. I don't know.
November 14.
It's like not far away. Shoot.
Yeah. Scary. It's good to put the deadline down though. Yeah.
Nah, you have to, because you're organising other people's lives, and they're booking jobs a month in advance as well. So I had to. I was just like, this is the date. Yeah,
when you book it and you involve other people, it's the point of no return. Yeah. You're in now.
I'm in.
Because if you fuck up, you're going to stuff people around. You're like...
So I organised the head people, and then I'm like, well, if we don't get the money, I reckon I can still make this on the money I do have. I can pay like the 4 people I've agreed to.
Well, that's the thing. That's the other thing. I try as best as I can to pay everybody.
Oh, God, yeah.
I try to pay everyone, except for the volunteers, of course, because they're volunteers.
Yeah.
But they applied to be a volunteer.
Yeah.
But with people we work with, and that's the other problem with the industry, right? You work with people you trust. It's hard to take on someone new because it's risky taking on someone new.
Yeah.
If they haven't written for TV before, haven't proven themselves.
Oh, yeah. So you don't have the credit, you can't do it.
You can't do it because it's about trust.
Yeah.
But if you go out there and make something that's trustworthy, that's what I think is you can cross-pollinate. You can totally cross-pollinate, right? But I think trust is definitely the issue.
Yeah.
You work with people you know because you trust them.
Yeah.
Because we've all had the horror stories on our sets.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we've had. We don't need to go into some horror stories today.
We will leave them untouched.
Yeah. Just check out Trainwreck when you get a good idea.
You know, like, because that's all you want is like I try really hard for every production to just make it a pleasant experience, and it doesn't always work. Like you don't always make every person happy, and damn, it's hard because you just want everyone to have a
you want a good time. That's why we do this, right?
You know, we're doing 10-hour days plus.
Yeah, 10 hours a good day. Actually, I think I did more. It's more like 11. It's still going. I'm still working.
Yeah, like I'm still here. I started as well. I'm like,
technically, still promoting.
Yeah, I'm gonna go drive and do a thing.
I'm gonna go do some writing after this.
What is wrong with us?
Actually, I'm gonna do some editing after
Yeah,
this.
same.
For a client.
We go home and do the stuff I didn't finish.
Yeah. No, but again, sometimes it comes down to when it comes down to the wire. I like the adrenaline of those long days. It's like there's always that moment that's on a film set, and you're like, oh fuck, I want this over. This is too much. I just need to sleep, and I just need this person to do what they said they were going to do. I just need this done. You get to the end, you wrap, and you go, what's my next project?
I know. Why
Every
do we
time.
keep coming back?
Every time.
I was so tired after those 10 days, and I was like, oh, I'm going to do one, but this time's going to be 4 weeks.
Yeah, but you get the creative hangover, right? The creative hangover is terrible. You're like, I'm never doing that ever again.
I'm already planning the next one and haven't started the next one.
Yeah, that's it.
Which is space themed. I'll tell you about it later offline.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about that later. In case someone, if
I'm
someone
so
makes,
excited about
if
it.
someone makes my movie, just credit me, man. Just credit me. Give me a free ticket to it. And let me be a part of making it, and just I'll be in the corner, with the water or something.
I think one of my favourite horror stories, in a good way, was when we were doing Sydney Sleuthers.
Oh yeah.
And it was we had all 12 actors on set, which is already a lot of people. And then we had the entire crew, and they were all in this building. And this building, you got to turn the AC off, so it was getting up to 50 degrees inside.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because you got the lights on.
Because you had 12 people in there plus the crew, so you've got actually more like, I don't know. I think there was only 20 people that fitted in there.
Oh,
but between takes, they had to just get out, and there was one guy.
Sounds like summer it sounds like the Pagey train in summer.
But they I don't know what it was. I think it was because we were all just in it together, and we were just trying, and it became the crucible that actually made everyone love each other.
That's it. Again, though, back to warfare, right? Warfare creates comrades.
Yeah.
Stress creates comrades, man. Stressful situations bring people together.
Like someone almost passed out because it was so hot, because you're so tall as well. So I think all the heat was getting
he's in the higher atmosphere.
He's in the higher atmosphere.
Used to being cold, but now he's hot.
But it's still the one day that we all, everyone talks about. It's that one day. It's like, yeah, that's right. And you look back at it fondly, but fuck, we were miserable.
The moment though, the time though, you're like, geez, man, this is brutal.
Bringing out watermelon and Super Dupers, like just trying everything.
Watermelon's the best, man.
Watermelon's the best.
Watermelon is the best, and Super Dupers. Oh, I figured out a trick with the Super Duper.
What?
Do you know the trick with the Super Duper?
No.
You take the Super Duper and just snap it, and you got 2 halves. And you go,
works that easy?
Yep, snaps. They snap in half. You go, no way. Right, your brain's going, no way.
No, my brain's going, yeah, I can believe that.
Yeah, if you
except for these new ones that they make that are like two joined together condoms almost.
No, not one of those ones. It has to be I'm talking about the Super Duper.
Yeah.
The actual Super Duper. I've actually got a whole bunch in the freezer.
Same. But haven't been touched in ages.
Saw it on the internet. I'm like, bullshit.
They can't go off.
I went and snapped one. I'm like, that's super easy and super cool. Because
how good's the internet?
Have you ever cut your lip on a Super Duper? When you try and rip one open, they're a bit sharp.
No.
You do that? Yeah, they're sharp. Super Dupers
I
are
just
sharp.
use scissors to cut the top. So.
Yeah. Well, normally I'm not in a situation where I got the scissors. Because they're in an esky.
I'm going to try that.
Yeah, just snap it.
Yeah.
You got to do it like in one
Yeah, you got to give
quick
it
motion.
some. Yeah,
You can't just go.
No, not my style anyway.
Just rip it off.
Yes.
Yeah, you can snap the Zuba Dubers. Big shout out to my mate Steve, actually. Because we have this tradition where we go to what we call the liquid molly, right? And this is a crazy story, right? So the liquid molly is a race at Bathurst, right? And we don't go to the Bathurst 1000 because it's always like a whole bunch of yobbos, right? So you get the extreme patriotism, and it's a bit rough. And you go, oh man, I just want to see this car race, man. I don't want to deal with this shit. But you go to the liquid molly, it's more of a sort of connoisseur car lover there, a bit more chilled, right? More chilled audience. And in better cars like Bentleys going 200 k's an hour around a track, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Porsches, it's not just two brand of car going around. It's a whole suite of cars. And we always root for the Bentley because it sounds awesome, but it never wins, right? Aww. And one year it did actually win, right? But I'm really crazy because we take a satellite TV with us, a big screen, 70-inch TV. We go trackside with a Begola.
Yeah.
We set up the TV, run it on a generator. I set up a Weber, and I cook ribs trackside while drinking beer, right?
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Wait, what does the TV do?
It watches the race.
Watches the race, yeah.
Because
just checking.
Yeah, because we're at one corner.
I was expecting something like live drone feed of the race or something like that.
No, because you're at one corner.
Not legal.
You see the cars come around, but you don't get to see the rest of the race. The screens that are around, you can watch it, which we set up in front of a big screen, which is really weird because to see the venue's a big screen that we're in front of, the track that we're right next to, track side, where you can hear and smell the action, right? It's intense.
Yeah.
And there I am cooking ribs. People walking by like, what the fuck are these guys doing?
They're just jealous.
Yeah, well, I was doing ribs, I was doing chicken, but watermelon is really good. Really like the watermelon at this event. I've forgotten why I'm telling the story.
Doesn't matter. It was a great story.
Yeah, but we go up there and we just have a hoot.
Yeah.
Just lose ourselves. I go barefoot the whole time. Don't even wear shoes, man. Just go barefoot in this campsite, drinking beer and cooking ribs. And I do a roast. Up there. I do a lamb roast, and I spin everyone out. Like, you're cooking a lamb roast trackside.
Lamb roast at a race.
But a big fucking one as well. It's like 3 kilo lamb. No, sorry, a ham. A ham.
What is this, Christmas?
Yeah, it is because it's in January and you've still got your Christmas. Yeah, I used to get the Christmas ham and do it.
I don't know when races are.
But I cook a ham trackside and it's an intense experience. I can't remember why. That's a tradition we haven't done for a while because of fucking COVID.
Yeah.
But the fucking C word. But I definitely want to get back out there and do those sort of things, and they're coming up. But back to accessibility. I want to get back to accessibility, right?
That's interesting.
It's an interesting topic, and I think it really ties into what we started this podcast with, and that's analog versus digital, eras versus this era. Where are we going?
Yeah.
Is it going to be the metaverse?
That's what I was saying. Launching in the metaverse is interesting.
Yeah, we're going to be in there. Are we already in it though? I don't know. So the phone is that projection of ourselves, when we always do that. Like, you talk to your grandparents differently than you talk to your parents. You talk to your friends differently than you talk to your parents.
Yeah.
You talk to different friends differently.
Yeah.
Talk to colleagues differently. We all have an avatar that's always there, and we're just putting that avatar in a digital space.
Yep.
It's the only real difference that I see. Instagram, and it's all the photo albums that you show people when they come around. Remember when we were younger and people go, oh, you got to see Jo when she was younger. Look at these photos of her at school. And you bring a date home.
I was such a poser.
Yeah. Oh, look, I'd bring a date home and my mother would bust out the nude photos of me as a child, playing with the hose in the backyard.
I was always in a puddle.
Yeah. I was eating mud. I used to eat mud.
A muddy puddle.
Yeah, I'd always eat mud.
In the middle of our driveway in Gilgandra, there's this one puddle that we always got, and it's always in it.
Yeah, I don't know why I did. Eating mud. Can't think of anything worse. No. Why are we doing that? This idea of accessibility, I think it comes down to we need to garner the community. Really, that's the bedrock. Yeah. And if the community starts off positive, I think it can go good places. If it starts off negative, it can go bad places. And I think the real objective is to get people paid.
Yeah.
Just get people paid, man. If you're getting, and that's where you got to get that funding, get that crowdfunding, so you can pay people.
Yeah.
Because they're going to go, and this is the thing I don't get about the government. They're very unsupportive. Oh, maybe not this government, the previous government. Very unsupportive of these ideas. And I'm like, but why? Think about it. You build just say you make a movie in Katoomba, right? There's 20 of you. You go to Katoomba, you buy lunch there, you go to the pub for the rap party, you spend money in the town, you buy accommodation, you know, you're buying petrol in their town, you know, you're spending money. Like, it's circulating money.
And one thing that also interests me, though, is that in terms of funding, there are very few short film fundings that, like, compared to what they used to be as well back in the day. Like, I remember I was doing this, what was it? Anyway, I had a mentor and they were talking about how they got $180,000 to make a short film. I was like, excuse me, what?
What? The biggest one I heard was 40K. I know someone got 40K to do a film. You're like, what?
It was something. It was like, I was just like,
180K.
But now the funding is very much, there are some, don't get me wrong, there are some funding things for short films. But it's very much web series. And that's still like, that's a lot of content still. That's like 5 short films.
Yeah,
and so to do
that's a feature
hard.
Though.
Well, yeah.
A web series
you move into that,
basically a feature. Yeah.
And so what I'm trying to do with, like, I did it with Sleuthers and I'm trying to do it again with Shippers, is I was like, okay, getting writing, producing, directing roles is the hardest thing. So I can bring on a director to do an episode. And that's like, that gives them content and it gives them stuff for their show reel. They don't have to do the bloody sweating blood and tears that goes into making stuff like this. They can just be a director for an episode. So like Shippers has got, we're aiming for about 6 over 8 episodes, 6 directors. So that's what I'm trying to do in terms of like accessibility from my little
great.
emerging level.
Yeah, we've been thinking about doing things like that, yeah.
And because otherwise, you know, I could direct all 8 episodes, but why would I kind of hoggle that? I don't know. I don't know how else to explain it.
Yeah, why do you need to get that spread? Because you can oversee that.
Yeah.
You can oversee the story.
So I can be like, oh, you know, just make sure it's a bit like this and then try and add your thing to it that you want to. But also, we don't have enough time, so you've got like 3 angles on this shot, and that's all you're getting. But like, you know, have the same crew, but just swapping out those really hard roles that just you never get.
Well, I do like a good shooting economy though. Like, you know, getting 3 shots out of 1 shot. I love doing that. You can get that out of a sweep. You know, get that frame, sweep over there. You got the sweep, that frame, and that frame. Yeah. Love doing that. Yeah. Well, they taught that to us in TV. And you've got to think about that as well, like a part of building that. And maybe that is a part of the economy of making shorts and doing web series, is getting different directors in, spreading that knowledge. And because you do have to look, obviously you have to look at film in an economic way. Yeah. You have to go, how am I paying for this? And it's not just money, it's time. Yep. We talked about before, we push out that 10 hours because we know we can squeeze that limit a little bit more to get more juice out of it. And then we can shorten the week and get we can get it to post-production quicker. It's generally the motivation for it. But I think there's we're at a turning point, and that turning point is to do with the phone. It's to do with accessibility. It's to do with creating platforms. But ultimately, it's about creating the community, and that community will create the network. Yeah. And out of that network, you can really shift that zeitgeist and really make different content. And I don't know, short content, long content seems to be going shorter and shorter and shorter.
I mean, my attention span's getting shorter and shorter and shorter. Having said that,
I keep losing what I'm up to in this podcast.
Having said that, I don't know how long we've been going for, but
yeah, it's been a while actually. We should get off of here soon actually.
But no, Korean dramas, their episodes are about an hour minimum each, an hour and 20 minutes. Some of them, I'm just like, whoa. And I'm actually, for some reason, it's made my attention span longer because I used to think it was getting shorter. But I was like, oh, no, that their content's just really good.
Yeah, no, doom scrolling will shorten it. Try and watch some more documentaries. Try to watch longer form content. But sometimes I watch longer form content and then I find myself on my phone. I'm watching a documentary and then I'm on my phone.
Heck yeah!
What are you doing? What? Too many screens. Put it down.
Yeah,
says the man with all the screens in the world.
But don't you reckon there's this weird mentality of it's hard to commit to a movie, but you can commit to 3 episodes of a television show?
Yeah, it's strange.
Isn't that weird?
That is weird, yeah. Well, actually, you've just hammered it. That's it. That's the one. Binging is iconic of our era.
Oh, yeah.
Binging is a massive icon of our era.
Thank you, Netflix.
Thank you, Netflix, yeah. Binging's really... When did binging start? The teenies. Can we call it the teenies? It sounds weird.
That sounds weird.
It sounds weird. The teens sounds weird as well.
Didn't we call now the Roaring Twenties again? Aren't we just repeating?
Yeah, well, the Roaring Twenties.
Sorry, not roaring, just the 20s.
Yeah, no, the 20s is... Yeah, the 20s is great, but the Roaring 20s, I think they can't take that away
Nah.
because it's all about industry.
Yeah.
Oh, my battery's about to die. We should get out of town.
Yeah, okay.
All right, let's get out of town. But look, where can we give you some help to crowdfund your film?
Oh, literally on the Possible website. It's also...
Possible.
Possible with a Z. I mean, you can usually find it as well if you go to our Twitter. Oh, God, what's our Twitter handle? I think it's just @ShippersSeries.
Yeah.
And it will have the link in the bio there.
Okay.
Also on Instagram, which is probably slightly different handle, but I can't remember what it is now. @Shippers_the_series.
Just check out Shippers the Series. I'm sure you'll get there.
You'll find it, yeah.
Oh, look, thank you so much for being on the show today. I really appreciate you coming around. And, in the Russian delay and everything that went on, but, we made it here eventually.
Thank you for having me. It's fun.
All right, no worries. And you guys have been watching The Pagey Train. You can check us out on Spotify. That's right, video on Spotify. And you can check us out on YouTube. And if you're there, don't forget to subscribe. For you avid listeners out there, you can check us out on iHeartRadio and iTunes. You guys have been watching The Pagey Train, and we'll see you next time. Oh, finally got it done. Was it on me? Oh, it's on me. Thank fuck. Oh, shit, man. I almost screwed that up. Man, my short memory has just gone to